All right. So thank you for joining us virtually and in person today for the 2024 Undergraduate Research Awards recognition event. Before we begin, I'd like to start by acknowledging the lands and people of the Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation. We are thankful to be welcomed on these lands in friendship. The lands we are situated on are covered under the Williams Treaties and the traditional territory of the Mississaugas, a branch of the Greater Anishinaabe Nation, including Algonquin, Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi. These lands remain home to a number of Indigenous nations and people. We acknowledge this land out of respect for the Indigenous nations who have cared for Turtle Island, also called North America, from before the arrival of settler peoples until this day. Most importantly, we remember the history of these lands has been tainted by poor treatment and a lack of friendship with the First Nations who call them home. This history is something we are all affected by, as we are all treaty people in Canada. We all have a shared history to reflect on, and each of us is affected by this history in different ways. Our past defines our present, but if we move forward as friends and allies, then it does not have to define our future. Now, because some folks online are tuning in with us across a variety of cities, I'd like to encourage everyone to take a moment to acknowledge the land that they are on. As a university community, we are dedicated to continuing to increase our awareness, understanding, and gratitude for the lands we share. Thank you. Now for introductions. My name is Kate Gambier, and I coordinate this exciting Undergraduate Research Awards program for the Office of Research Services under the Vice President Research and Innovation at Ontario Tech. We have an exciting event planned for you all today. We encourage you to share photos and tag our OT VP Research on your posts today on social media. A few housekeeping items. As a reminder, today's event is heavily photographed and recorded. For those online, captions can be enabled using the CC closed caption button on the bottom panel of your screen. And if you have any questions for our guest speaker, you can let us know in the chat online. Now for our program today, the event gives us the exceptional opportunity to celebrate our absolutely wonderful students and to promote the importance of undergraduate research at our university. I'd like to pay a special welcome to our guests in attendance today, including esteemed deans from across the university, staff members from the Office of the Vice President, Research and Innovation, and the Office of Research Services, as well as other departments. Faculty members, our project supervisors, industry representatives, our guest speakers, and of course, our amazing Undergraduate Research Award recipients. The 2024 URA competition was incredibly strong, and there were so many deserving applicants across your faculties. So congratulations to every single one of you for receiving an award. Today is a celebration of your contributions to research and your educational journey. Your work these past few months has made a huge contribution to the research enterprise at Ontario Tech, and your efforts are inspirational to the entire university community. I'd now like to invite Jennifer Freeman, Executive Director, Office of Research Services, to offer greetings to our attendees today. Thank you.
It's great to see everybody here today. Thanks very much for coming. So again, my name is Jennifer Freeman. I'm the Executive Director for the Office of Research Services, and I'm pleased to welcome you here today to this Undergraduate Student Research Awards ceremony at Ontario Tech University. I'm also here on behalf of Les Jacobs, who unfortunately couldn't make it today. He's our Vice President Research for Ontario Tech. So it's great to see the range of attendees from across the university, students, faculty, researchers, staff, and alumni, all coming together today to celebrate. We would also like to pay special thanks and welcome to our external guests who are here with us today as well. It's hard to believe that well over 18 years ago, it's hard to believe that I've been here almost 20 years, which is also hard to say. And I think there's some other faculty members who have been here equally as long, that we've been organizing this event, and we've seen it grow over the years, and that's been fantastic to see. A little fun fact, in case you didn't know, for those from the Faculty of Science, it actually started there. It originated in that faculty, and we're proud of their achievement in starting the program, and then they were very happy to hand it off to the Office of Research Services, and we've been proud to be the steward of this program throughout as we move forward. This program is really about developing skills, giving you opportunities, and days like this give you an opportunity to network and collaborate and connect and to see what other students are doing across the institution, but also connect with faculty members, staff, alumni, and others. We also have some great guest speakers, so we're very excited about that. So today we are here to celebrate each of the talented, deserving Undergraduate Research Awards recipients. The USRA program is funded through a couple of different sources. So Natural Sciences and Engineering Research Council of Canada through the Undergraduate Student Research Awards, or also known as NSERC USRA. The Ontario Tech Student Training Assistantship and Research Program, or the STAR Award. These are funded through the Office of the Vice President, Research and Innovation. We also have some additional awards through SSHRC, which is Social Science Research Council, as well as CIHR, which is Canadian Institutes of Health Research. These awards are supported by our project supervisors, so our talented faculty members. Again, thank you very much, all of our faculty members who are here. We really couldn't have research at the institution without the talent, without the dedication of the faculty members that are here. So when you see them, really give them a big thank you, because they do a lot of great innovative work. And then through you and support through you, there's impact to society and abroad. And I'm not sure if you're aware, but our institution has continued to grow research-wise. So we, in 20-year time, have now been named the University of the Year through Research InfoSource, which is a huge achievement. And our funding has grown from when I started at $250,000 per year. It's now over $26 million annually at the institution. So huge achievement. And that's really because of all of you. Students contribute to that, faculty contribute to that. It is about a research culture. And this is, again, another way for us to recognize that. And thank you to all of your efforts. This year, we had over 130 applicants for the USRA program. Through the rigorous award selection process, we are celebrating 44 award recipients for the STAR, the NSERC USRA, the CIHR program, as well as the SSHRC program, plus some additional awards that we have as well. The term of the project was for 14 to 16 weeks to participate in research, so hopefully you all did some of that. We had students who were exploring a variety of areas, from red blood cell physiology to technology and medical education, from dishonesty in sibling relationships to molecular complexes, from sustainability of small modular reactors to the sustainability of Taylor Swift's concerts. That is a big topic too. And now my Instagram is probably going to bring up Taylor Swift all the way for the rest of the days. We hope that the opportunity has encouraged you to further develop your research abilities and inspired you for future careers. So please join me, everybody, in giving yourselves a round of applause. The students who are receiving awards, those who are involved, but also the faculty members. You can give a big shout out. Woo. So I would really like to introduce our guest speaker today. So it is my great pleasure to introduce esteemed guest speaker, Samantha, and I might not pronounce your name correctly. Stolke. Thank you very much for helping me with that. So Samantha is an exceptional individual who achieved not one, but 3 undergraduate research awards supported by NSERC USRA. In 2015, Samantha pursued an NSERC USRA under the supervision of Leonard Knack, followed by 2 NSERC USRAs under the supervision of Pejman Maurice Babai. In right
Give
there.
him a hand.
You can't hide. Samantha and her 2 classmates founded their own startup company, Ominous Games, which is fantastic. Samantha went on to graduate from her Bachelor's of Information Technology degree in game development with the highest distinction and won the Governor General's Academic Silver Medal for the highest cumulative GPA. There's more. That's not all.
Now it's my turn to hide.
So after graduating in 2018, Samantha went on to pursue her master's degree in computer science. Samantha's research during her master's had a strong focus on how to use artificial intelligence to improve gaming. And it also built on the understanding of how people play games in general. Samantha, how many people here are gamers? Just out of curiosity here. Oh, come on, there's more
Tough
gamers
crowd.
than that. Yes, I'm being schooled by my son at home about many of the different games. Samantha was a favorite amongst students during her time as a teaching assistant at Ontario Tech. She also received the 2020 3-Minute Thesis Award for her presentation on synthesizing play, exploring the use of artificial intelligence to evaluate gamer user experience. So all of the students in the crowd might want to connect with Samantha on the 3MT for some tips if you're going in that direction to do graduate work. She also received a prestigious scholarship in artificial intelligence from the Toronto-based Vector Institute during her degree. Samantha is now exploring her more creative side in her role as an artist at Jam City in Toronto and working as a freelance food artist for Vertigo Gaming, where she has designed outstanding graphics for Cook Server Forever game. Thank you, Samantha, for being here today. We really appreciate it, and for all your continued commitment to research and to Ontario Tech. After Samantha has spoken today, we will open the floor for some questions and answers. So it's really for you to engage in the dialogue today and learn from Samantha's experience. She's had a lot of experiences. So we're pleased to join Samantha here today to give us our opening speak.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you, Jennifer. Okay, let's see if our sync works here. It's the other presentation in the meet right now, I think. Perfect. Let's see if we can. Okay, the notes are not here, so we're going to do this live. And I'm getting a little bit of echo on my computer, so I'm going to mute that right now. Master's degree in computer science, everyone. I can't figure out how to share a PowerPoint. It's good. Okay, so I am here today to talk to you about if my clicker is connected. Research. There we go. Thank you very much. It's neat. But why? We're going to talk about that today. But before I get to that, let me answer a different question. I mean, Jen already answered this, but who am I? What do I do? And what gives me the credibility to be here today talking to all of you at a research event? Well, for starters, I think the clicker connectivity is having a problem. There we go. Okay, we're gonna be a little wild with this. I'm Samantha. That's me right there. Very exciting, I know. Right now I'm doing a few different things. Well, actually, right now I'm supposed to be at my job in the video game industry, making art for mobile games, but I told them I had an appointment today, so it's fine. It's actually my last day. What are they gonna do? Fire me? I quit my job today. I'm serious. Well, I gave them 2 weeks notice. I'm not a monster. But I quit my job because I had a crisis of ethics and decided to come back to academia to do research. And I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going to tell you how great research is and how it can be a great part of your life, something that can maybe be a very stressful part of your life sometimes, but something that you'll probably look back on fondly and that you can always come back to, and a cool way to contribute to the world. Anyways, so as of 3 p.m.-ish today, I'm going to be one of you guys again, at least until I have some other crisis and end up selling charcoal sketches on the beaches of Ibiza or something. The third thing, right, what gives me the credibility to deliver a research keynote? Well, quite honestly, nothing in particular, but I'm here, so now I get to do the self-indulgent keynote speaker thing and ramble about myself for 20 minutes while I clumsily attempt to make some grander statement about the value of research and the meaningfulness of life and academia and all of that, but ultimately I'm just going to spend way too much time talking about myself. So in service of that, there it is right there, my academic qualifications in Simcoe Blue and Tech Tangerine. Those are actually the names of those colors according to the school branding guide. And I love that a committee probably had to approve that. There were people sitting in a room for 20 minutes going, what do we call these colors? Like, mechanical mandarin does not cut it, boys. It has to be Tech Tangerine. That's what we're going with. So yeah, 2 degrees, maybe counting, maybe 1 day PhD class of something. I don't know. Doing stuff is scary, so we'll see. So about some of the scary stuff that I've done before, I worked under a few different grants and contracts for research in undergrad, working on a bunch of random kind of vaguely computer science, digital media, sometimes veering into almost sociology type stuff with some of the people I was working with. A few of those things. I wrote a bunch of back-end PHP, which is something I can never recommend to anyone for anything, for a conference networking app. And this was in 2014. This used an alien-born global pandemic as a narrative framing device for conference networking. Did not exactly age well. Anyways, I designed a few custom maps for Portal 2 as part of a study looking at player communication in cooperative games. And I still can't believe that I got paid to do that. I made a little computer-assisted design tool when I was in 4th year for generating color palettes as part of a project for a class, and then it ended up being a little work-in-progress paper. I think it was work in progress. Maybe it was late-breaking work. I forget, at a conference. It's been a long time. I'm almost 30. I'm basically dead. Anyways, and I worked on quite a few publications as well. Here is one that I like, that is popular as far as, undergrad stuff is concerned. It was about the approaches to design and interaction for live streaming events. Basically a paper about Twitch Plays Pokemon. We got like 20 pages out of it. Did pretty well. Shocking, I know. And there was one other kind of major project that ended up spiraling out into my master's thesis. We had some spoilers about that earlier, but we'll get to that. So what else? Here we go. Intermission. I wasn't just doing research during undergrad. I was in the game development program. So as Jen mentioned, there was a lot of coursework and also independent projects. So I was working on a team with 2 of my best friends, Josh and Owen. That's me in the middle. That's Josh on the left. That's Owen on the right. Hopefully they won't kill me for using this picture in here. It was on some local news site. It's fine. So we made some cool little projects. We became great friends. We started a business together. We did incubator in 4th year. And we won some pitching competitions. We got some grant money. So we ended up taking our demo to PAX East, which is this big gaming expo happens in Boston every year. And it was a ton of fun. And I met the writers of my favorite indie game series, the Cook Serve Delicious games, at PAX. And it was super neat. And I played the demo there, and they took a picture of me and put it on their Twitter. And I was just being such a super fan that day. And it was a lot of fun. But I was exhausted. I'd pretty much been working 12 or 14-hour days, 7 days a week for over a year between coursework and research, the entrepreneurship circuit, dealing with the government because we had started a business, and grant agencies. I was hoping to get a TA contract in the summer, and I was doing all of the programming for our project. So I had a bit of a minor existential crisis, which, as it turns out, is a favorite pastime of mine now. So this is when I decided to do my master's. And here's where expectations come in to an extent during undergrad research as well, because when I thought about the word research, I had thought about going into a lot of different fields as a kid. So the word research conjured up to me images of Erlenmeyer flasks and microscopes and micropipettes, which just look like so much fun, and sci-fi corn lady, who I love, and like state-of-the-art facilities and these massive 400-year-old buildings, and just people sitting at a lab bench who are super skilled and have magically brilliant plans to make everything work, and everything's marching along, and then there's some occasional major crisis, and everyone's at the whiteboard all night and drawing on the windows, and then you come to some Hollywood level epiphany and everything all comes together. And I'm sure there is some of that happening somewhere. But the reality, for me at least, in computer science and in digital media is a little bit closer to this. So it's not so much a perfectly disciplined strike team facing the occasional calamity as it is sitting in front of a computer for hours and hours facing extremely frequent tiny nonsense bugs and begging some equally exhausted colleague that just has double vision and they're bleary-eyed and they're just as tired as you. And you're like, just please listen to me. I need to complain. PyCharm is not loading my virtual environment correctly, and one of my dependencies isn't recognized. I don't know what to do, and pip is giving me errors, and Anaconda isn't working, and I think my path variable is. So yeah, it's a lot of this, but it is in service to something greater. It's also a lot of this sometimes, which I assure you is a screenshot from a totally legal copy that is definitely not just a PDF from some random, probably Russian file sharing site. There's also some of this, REB applications, getting people to sit in a room with you for half an hour to talk about their approaches to software design in exchange for usually Amazon gift cards, which kind of makes you feel like you're a scam artist. But, it's a fun time. You get to meet a lot of interesting people. But after a couple years of all of that, I managed to have my thesis work all wrapped up, a little system I made for Unity, which is a game engine for anyone here that's somewhat familiar with game development, which is basically like a software framework or package that developers use to make video games. And my system was a really simple utility to simulate player behavior navigating in 3D environments. So the idea is it's a tool that designers can use to figure out where are people going to go in the game that I'm making, and how can I use that information to maybe make a more interesting world for them to explore. So I wrote up all my research, and I did the 3-minute thesis competition. And something about me is that whenever there's a picture of me doing public speaking, I just look like I'm doing really terrible stand-up comedy, which honestly, fair. And that was in the middle of March 2020. I shook a lot of hands that day, and that turned out to be a very risky move. I didn't get COVID. I actually got COVID 2 years later at a birthday party. But I'm pretty sure campus actually shut down the day after I did that. I think that was March 16th. And March 17th, we get the big scary email that's like, COVID is coming to kill us all. So we're all going to tell you to stay inside. And I'm thinking, great, I just brought like 30 different hand germs home with me. This is really good. So I was the university's first online thesis defense, or at least that's what they told me. I think they might have told everyone who defended that spring that just to make us feel a little bit better. Anyways, that was that. So during and right after the master's, I did some other stuff in the academic realm. I taught a class, more than one. I wrote a book, which is accessible for free, by the way, no Russian file sharing site needed, through the university library or through emailing me because I'm a filthy anarcho-communist. That color on the cover, by the way, that's not tech tangerine. That's actually playful persimmon. I taught a couple more classes online during COVID and found some interesting ways to keep the class engaged. Actually, I had a couple of these shirts printed. I've still got them at home. But yeah, COVID. I was going to put a picture of the virus here and insult it for having goofy looking spike proteins like a total loser. But I'm really sick of looking at it, and I'm sick of hearing about it. And I'm sure all of you are sick of looking at it and hearing about it too. But it left indelible scars on all of us. So here we are, we're talking about it. And at this point, I'm in 2021. It's been 3 years since my last existential crisis, so it was time for a new one. So I had another one, which I think most people did at this point. And then, yeah, what did I do? I transitioned out of academia. I said, I'm done with this. I don't want to teach online anymore. I don't want to be stuck in front of a computer all day. I want to explore my creative potential. So I transitioned out of academia to focus on art, and I developed my skills more. I had always dreamed of being an artist, so I went, okay, I'm going to go do it. And I made some stuff that other people really seem to like and that I almost kind of sort of like. But of course, being an artist, I mostly just hate everything that I ever do, especially pictures. So there's that, but it's fine. And I actually started making some money at it. First, I was drawing people's pets online for money, which is a lot of fun. The wages aren't great, but it's a lot of fun. And then I had a couple freelance contracts. And then I ended up landing a contract to work with, remember when I was at PAX and I met the writers of my favorite indie game series? Yeah, I got to do some work for those guys. So I got to make the art for the food for the next game in my favorite indie game series, which just luck follows me around. Life is weird like that. And then I landed a full-time job in the industry, making art for mobile games. And I met a group of people there that I think will be my forever friends. And I thought, hey, now I have a clear career path, and I'll apply my cross-disciplinary knowledge to be a more well-rounded creative on an industry team. And then this happened. This is last year. This is my mom and I nearing the top of our hike/climb to the top of Iceland's second tallest waterfall, which is 600 feet high. The tallest one is only accessible by air, and it was only discovered 10 years ago. So you know what? It's still a W. Behind us is about 500 feet at this point of the climb of sheer vertical drop. And it was the best experience of my entire life. And what's that? Can you feel it? Uh-oh, it's another existential crisis right on time. A couple years later, here it comes. I really can't recommend them enough. I try to make a habit of it now. It's a good way to guide yourself. And I realized after expanding my view of the world, my little stuck in front of a computer to be stuck in front of a different computer world, that making money isn't really the best way to define myself as a capital A artist. And that kind of shook my identity. Then I thought more about how the company that I was working for was kind of making every single dollar from exploiting players, a fact which I'd been uncomfortably trying to push to the back of my mind since I had even applied for the job. And I carry some shame for that. And if I hadn't even been pushing it back for the reason to feel like a real artist, what was I really doing? And I felt kind of empty for a while, and I wasn't sure what to do. And then I messaged my old supervisor, Pejman, and I said, hey, when I left the university, you said to me, don't worry, you can always come home. Is that possible? Are we still in always? And very luckily for me, the answer was yes. And as of about a week ago, I've been doing some more research work back here at part-time at the school as a research associate, and maybe sometime next year, aspiring PhD student. But why come back to research? For me, I think when I was an undergrad, I don't know how many of you have a similar experience, and during my master's as well, I got so caught up in the little things, in the minutia of what I was doing, the very specific stuff and all the little problems all the time, the constant push to I need to just get this publication done, or I need to just get this project done, or ace the next exam or whatever, that I never really had a solid perspective on what research and what academic work and what I was doing for me in a broader sense. And it took me some time and some distance to figure that out. So now, for this part of the talk, I want you all to think about the work that you've done and really try and reflect on it, and maybe what's left to do or what comes next. Not specifically about the project you're working on now, but about the work itself and about what you're doing for yourself with this work. So let's talk about what this work is going to do for you. Communication. You are going to talk to lots of different people when you're working in research or more broadly academia, and some of them are going to know way more about what you're studying than you do, and some of them are going to know way less, whether they're new students, whether they're people from a different field, whether they're, as we call the public, lay people who kind of aren't in academia or research at the present moment. And you need to be able to communicate with all of them, whether it's to get assistance, to offer assistance, to collaborate with them, to disseminate your work. And these skills are very transferable to the industry as well. I thought when I joined the industry that I would be a fish out of water and have no idea what I was doing. And as it turned out, I adapted really fast and really well to communicating in an office. I got unexpected praise from managers like, hey, your communication skills are really good. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is because I was in academia for so long, talking to so many different people, understanding so many different people. It's a really, really important skill. People talk about it for a reason. And this is probably the best place to develop that skill. Critical thinking, another big one. Sometimes you're going to realize that you need to take a completely different approach to something, or that part of your work is totally kind of useless and that you have to throw it out, and then explain why you did that to your supervisor and all of the grant money that they're holding. And as you do this over and over and over again, you're going to get better at it, and you'll catch things before they become a problem, and you'll think of better solutions faster and easier. And most importantly, you'll be able to apply that to different problems, even totally different fields, more challenging problems, unsolved problems. And this is going to broaden your horizons and ultimately create more opportunities for you, regardless of where you end up. Next up, a whole bunch of other soft skills, like, okay, I can't take this seriously with this guy up here. Neither should you. So better. That's Perry the Puffin. I met Perry in Iceland. I love Iceland. Anyways, soft skills, teamwork. This one goes hand in hand with communication, obviously. And if you're a maladapted introvert like myself, then working in a research group is really going to help teach you how to just interact with other human beings in a productive way. And it sounds really silly, but also how to make friends. I developed way more social skills working in a research group than I ever did in elementary school getting pushed into a bookcase. So teamwork, very important. Leadership, you're going to learn about this one by watching your supervisor and more senior team members. Then you're going to learn by doing, because as soon as someone joins your group who's younger than you, less experienced than you, they're in an earlier year than you, or they're just coming from a different group, you're going to become part of that team that brings them into the work, shows them the ropes, and you're going to develop the ability to lead and manage and mentor and inspire people. Adaptability. This is another big one. Changing gears. You're going to be flipping between projects all the time. You're going to have to wear many hats as a researcher. And this is something that is going to help you get better with change, which, like it or not, is something that features very heavily in everyone's life, and you will be glad that you developed this skill in the relatively safe environment of a research group. Time management is another one. Everyone always talks about time management. You're always going to have something to do. And even if you're a disorganized mess like myself, it's a work in progress for everyone, forever, like everything. But working on lots of projects is just going to make you more organized, both in terms of how you handle information, how you manage your time, and just it's going to help you find and appreciate different approaches to being organized as well. I'd also say stress management here, but I've never been very good at that. I don't think anyone is. And I feel like research work in itself isn't going to teach you stress management. What will teach you stress management is enforcing your boundaries. So if I'm going to give one piece of outright advice, it's that you really need to have some kind of a work-life boundary, and you need to find something that will help you learn stress management so that you don't burn out and so that you can keep doing great things. And for me, that something turned out to be climbing waterfalls. Who knew? And let's not forget, even if it doesn't feel as directed sometimes as it might in a classroom, you'll be developing hard skills and a nuanced understanding of your research area as well. Maybe more quickly and more deeply than you realize. So in my case, this was mostly programming, along with user research protocols and a couple of other things. But in your case, maybe it's mechanical engineering or graph theory or robotics, or maybe it's physics even, or chemistry, or this one is important. If you get to play with the micropipettes, please call me, because I have always wanted to use a micropipette. It looks like a lot of fun, and I'm not a biologist or a biochemist or a chemist, so I've never gotten to play with one, and it makes me sad. Anyways, you get the picture. But I think my favorite thing about academic research, and the thing that ultimately called me back to it, was knowing that I could feel really good about what I was doing. Even if I couldn't be sure of where my work was going to lead, or whether a project would even work out, whether a paper was going to get thrown out, whether it would feel like nothing was coming of what I was doing at the time. And of course, there are places in this world where research is, so to speak, used for evil, because unfortunately we do live in a society. But for the most part, and definitely at a university, academic politics and grant applications and all that aside, the core motive is to make the world a better place. It sounds corny, but you can always feel good about that when you're here. And that's something that you'll always have. So the question becomes, how do we do that? How do we make sure that we feel good about what we're doing? What problems do we solve? And what fields do we focus on? How about chemistry? How about we try and find a cheap metallic catalyst to help speed up the production of widely used chemicals like antifreeze? Or we try and make a molybdenum complex that can help us soak carbon out of the atmosphere at a very low energy cost. What about biology? Can we use plant hormones to speed up the growth of bacteria that produce really useful cellulose? Maybe we're delving into biochemistry and using a seaweed derivative to make a hydrogel that can sense foreign DNA or pharmaceuticals in different environments, like crime scenes even. Oh, we've got forensic science peeking in here too. Let's keep on this road. Medicine, disease. It's a problem. Shocking, I know. And there's lots of them too. Hemolytic diseases in particular, very nasty. Why don't we look at how the presence of different iron compounds and levels of oxidative stress can tell us about the viability of red blood cells? Just talking out of my pocket here. Speaking of oxidative stress on red blood cells, because it's a very common topic of conversation, why don't we see if we can work on understanding how that happens when blood cells are in storage so that we could maybe extend the life of our transfusion supply? And while we're on the subject of blood, mosquitoes. I hate them, you hate them, they're nasty. They're little parasite vectors. Maybe we can look at how different drugs affect the movement of those parasites to see if we can stop them in their tracks. Okay, health. I'm not going to pretend like there's a fine line between health and medicine, but I want to change the text on screen every few seconds to keep it snappy, so bear with me. And if we're going to do good research work, we got to keep our meat suits in good repair, right? So how about we get people to exercise and then see if we can cheaply assess their vascular and immune health, maybe through their saliva. Or maybe we can look at respiration during exercise and how the climate affects that, or respiration in general, and if we can use AI to maybe help wean people off of mechanically assisted breathing, just a thought. Or for those of us stuck in computers like me, maybe we can look at how our reflexes are altered by neck pain and see if some straightforward therapy like controlled muscular vibration could affect those reflexes. Human development. This one's nifty. I love developing humans and software, and different humans develop differently. So why don't we investigate how activity level could affect motor skills in, say, children with autism spectrum disorder, or how the social dynamics between siblings can affect whether children will manifest honest or dishonest behavior in difficult situations, which, besides furthering our understanding of their development and how humans grow and nurture one another, could have real implications in the legal systems. Is that forensics coming in again? Keeps knocking at the door. And once we've developed all of these humans, what about the things that those humans go on to develop? Engineering. Let's use robots to inspect job sites. And let's not pigeonhole ourselves into just one robot. Let's use a whole fleet of little robots on the ground and in the air to help make sure that we've got safe workplaces. And speaking of robots, what about autonomous vehicles? This is a tough one. There's a lot of problems to solve. One of them is rain, and not just because LiDAR doesn't like water. What if we had some kind of bespoke sensor that could help adapt driverless cars to those different conditions? But how are we going to power all of this stuff? Oh, could it be energy? Let's make a tiny, relatively speaking, nuclear reactor with cool heat pipes that's super portable as far as nuclear reactors go, that we could use to help with remote communities or maybe disaster relief. And for all the steel that we're going to need to make that thing, what if we could repurpose all that currently wasted heat to generate some energy to help meet the growing power needs of the internet? It's full of graph theory, because it's a series of tubes. And some of those graphs are directed, which I believe in technical terms means that when you draw them in Canva, you need to use the arrow tool. And analyzing the importance of nodes in those graphs is really hard. I wonder if there's a way to do it with random walks. I bet it's impossible. Someone's probably going to figure it out eventually, though. Some other graphs, they're symmetrical because of crystals or something, but they're tricky for machine learning. I wonder if we instrument our feature analysis process somehow with some extra data, maybe we can make it a little bit easier. But to do all of this stuff as researchers, we got to manage like a dozen passwords, right? We should probably use passkeys because passwords aren't actually that great, but a lot of the general public doesn't really get that. So we should probably work on education there so that we can protect computer science from burglars. This is my house. I like this one. Machine learning is pretty hot in computer science, but its attempts at translation sometimes are not make words very good right now. So can we make a system to flag errors in those translations, do you think? One that could integrate reinforcement learning and improve over time? I don't know. And while we're at it with machine learning, can we also use those tools to prioritize test cases in that software we're developing that's continuously improving to make it even better? And lastly, something near and dear to my heart, digital media and video games. We've got a lot of cool devices to play with as game researchers, like gloves that simulate the sense of touch for thousands and thousands of dollars. But for people without thousands of dollars in that sweet glove money, can we use visuals and audio to trick their brains into thinking that they're getting rich haptic, that means touch, feedback, maybe in the context of a serious game for training? I don't know, maybe. We should probably get someone on that. The point is, there's a lot of interesting problems and lots of admirable work to be done, maybe already being done on these problems. But I know what you're thinking. Why is research neat? We had to summarize our work in 3 minutes, and you've been talking for 6 times that long, and we still haven't gotten a straight answer out of you. So I'm going to answer the question, why is research neat? And the answer is, because of you. I just told you all those projects, all of those questions touching different fields that every single person in this room and online is working on. They're answering different questions. They're solving different problems. And that's amazing. And now's the part where I try and tie all of my rambling together into something meaningful, because research, and let's be honest, life in general, isn't just about work. It's about motivation and encouragement and inspiration, because all that gooey stuff in our brains takes a little bit of coaxing to work properly sometimes. And speaking from experience, working in research, if you're in this room, sometimes it's going to feel like you're not doing very much. Sometimes you're going to feel like you're on top of the world, but sometimes you're going to feel like a fraud who barely understands 10% of their own work. And to that, I would say, just remember that you can't hold the collective knowledge of all of humanity in your brain. We can't even hold it in recorded history, for goodness sake. There's so much stuff that has been forgotten by our civilization, but we are doing our best. And there is a reason that the phrase, "it takes a village," is something you hear so much in so many different contexts. Because You can't hold everything in your head at once, and you can't make every right decision and write every perfect paper. But what you can do is just keep trying. Keep pushing forward one little pebble, one little speck of dust at a time. And it might be slow and it might be messy and we might stumble collectively way more often than we'd like, but together we can keep moving forward. And one day you're going to look back on your work here, and whether it leads to something big or it leads to something else, or you end up in a totally different field or not even working in research in the end, you're going to be proud of this one day, as you well should be. So enjoy this time and know that no matter what, you've been a part of something really, really neat. So thank you for listening. And let me throw the second lamest ending slide right up there with list of image sources, which I did keep track of in the notes, by the way. Always cite your sources. And ask if there's any questions, if we have time for questions. I think I talked a bit over, sorry. Or not. Oh, we got a live one. Oh, no, you get to play with the fancy mic thing so that the people online can hear you. How's that for a tactile interface, huh?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Was getting a master's degree helpful in a career for game development?
Yes, actually. Okay, there's caveats attached to this. I ended up becoming an artist at my company as I wanted to, so I don't think it impacted my pay at all, but it did make me stand out in the application process. They were quite interested in the fact that I had a tech background, the fact that I had done the graduate degree, because it meant that I could bring a bit of cross-disciplinary knowledge to the team. And I did end up working on some procedural animations outside my usual illustration tasks as well. So the master's helped me stand out. I don't think it reflected in my pay personally. However, it probably would, a master's in computer science, if you were, say, going into the industry as a programmer. Exactly when you're going to, quote unquote, make back your tuition or that extra couple years of experience, your mileage is going to vary. But yeah, it definitely contributed to my ability to get a job in the industry.
Thank you.
That was a good catch.
Yeah, it was, I like that. The people online can't see, but just got
so
a great
everybody
catch
knows,
over here, yeah.
it was a good catch. I just have a question in regards to the direction you're going into your PhD. Did your experience outside taking that break influence your decision on what topic you're going to be going into in your PhD? And like, I think it's a scary subject for everybody that wants to do graduate studies to pick something very specific. And what if you pick the wrong thing? And, you know, can you expand on like how you made that decision?
Absolutely. So when I did my master's, I was working on AI testing in video games. And really, I just did that because I thought, hey, AI is cool. This is before generative AI was stealing everyone's work and companies were breaking copyright law all over the place. It's funny, they love copyright law when it's protecting Disney, but when it's protecting someone with 500 followers on Twitter that draws cats, they're like, yeah, we don't need copyright. But anyways, I kind of picked that area for master's, just almost, I don't want to say on a lark, but it was what I was working on and I just kept doing it. And I didn't put a ton of thought into it. I don't regret it. I had fun. I think it was good work, but I don't think it was something that was really, really near and dear to my heart. And having the space to think and having worked in the industry, I think the fact that I was having kind of an ethical crisis about where I was working also shaped it too. Because when I thought, okay, I want to go back to academia, at least for a while, because I'll feel like I'm making the world a better place. And then I was thinking, what research area can I focus on that will reinforce that feeling, that I can feel like I'm doing some kind of a social good? And this isn't to say that all research needs to be motivated by the most goody-goody thing possible. Like if you just want to look at cool tech, that's a fantastic cause. Do that. If you're passionate about it, do it. But for me, when I was thinking, what can I do that will kind of heal my heart from the cynicism of the industry? Accessibility sprang to mind pretty quickly. When you're working in game development, there's always discussions online about, a lot of them center around difficulty, some of them center around interface design. And the fact is that for a lot of people, unless you're quote unquote normal in terms of all of your sensory and motor and cognitive abilities, there's going to be a lot of barriers for you to play a lot of different video games. So for me, accessibility is going to be the thing that I want to focus on. It also made sense for me because I'm legally blind in my left eye. I can't really see stereo depth properly. So I thought, hey, this is something that I can kind of personally relate to as well. And it's something that I've always, getting way too personal here. I've been living my life in fear for a long time that, they don't know exactly what happened here. And there's a possibility that one day I'm going to wake up and it's going to start happening here. And then I'm just going to be blind in a couple of years. And, hopefully that's not going to be a problem, but it's something that I've always thought about. And I think that gives it a bit of an extra personal thrust for me and a bit of extra ability to understand the challenges that people face. And I want to better understand those challenges and do something about contributing to solving them, whatever little smidge that I can. Yeah.
Thank you.
Last question, I'm being told. If there's one more, we have time for one more. Potentially someone online too. I don't know if there's anyone in the chat. Or we can call it convenient time.
Last call. Okay. So on behalf of everyone in attendance today, we'd like to thank you again, Samantha, for giving us this fantastic inspirational keynote address and the Q&A that followed. So one final round of applause for Samantha.
Thanks for having me.
Gift for you here.
I missed the Ontario Tech branded stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna give.
Oh my
have a
God, Tech
picture of you.
Tangerine and Simcoe Blue. It's the best day ever.
I'm just gonna take a picture.
She probably was just holding it like a novelty check. Hello, yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Just gonna grab my laptop.
No, no worries. Another round
fine.
of applause for Samantha.
This is that. It's that awkward time where we're walking away and you're saying goodbye, but we're going the same direction. It's like, okay, yeah, just get out of here already.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. So without further ado, we have the presentation of the certificates to our 2024 Undergraduate Research Award recipients. So I'd like to welcome Jen back to congratulate our student award recipients and take photos with them as they get theirs. Thank you so much. So a quick housekeeping note for our student award recipients. The certificates are awarded in alphabetical order by first name. We start first with the STAR Award, and then we go into the USRAs after. So your NSERC, then SSHRC and CIHR. So if you wish to approach the front of the room to receive your certificate, you are welcome to do so. But noting that some students may not be comfortable with that, you can also be acknowledged from where you're sitting or virtually for those online. You can begin to approach as you hear your name get closer in that alphabetical list. And what we're going to do is have you come down this side of the room. You'll grab your certificate from here and a little gift as well. And then you're going to go this way, get your photo taken, and feel free to return to your seat. And feel free to applaud and cheer throughout. Obviously, this is a celebration for you. So this year, we had 12 esteemed recipients of the STAR Award. We had 30 recipients of the NSERC USRA, 32 recipients of the NSERC USRA, the CIHR USRA, and the SSHRC USRA. And we're also going to honor our fall and winter CIHR and SSHRC as well. So firstly, we have our STAR recipients, so the Student Training Assistantships and Research Awards. So our first person we have is Edit Singla, Smart Wearable Medical Devices. Smart wearable medical devices for sleep disorder diagnosis and monitoring under the supervision of Zia Sadatnia. Next, we have Anshal Sihag, modeling swarms of bacteria. Under the supervision of Leonard Van Veen. All right. Next, we have Anne Drakes. Anne's project was tailored fabrication of quantum dots for photovoltaic devices for use in biosensing, under the supervision of Nisha Agarwal. We have Hannah Lywood. Hannah's project was under motor skill intervention for children with autism spectrum disorder, a 5-year follow-up under the supervision of Megan Lloyd. Ifani Obanello. Positional encoding for graph neural networks. Okay, and after Ifani, we have Minulega Yazdani. Minu is here today. So Minu's project was on cultural analytics and digital archiving project under the supervision of Isabel Peterson. Okay, so next we have Rachel Ryan. Yay. Rachel's project was simulation of internal processes in molecular complexes under the supervision of Fedor Nomkin. Saif Shams Murad. P4-based programmable networks under the supervision of Sharam Shah Hidari. Okay, Sarah Elgazar. Sarah's project was examining the physical, social, and educational benefits of clean exergame for persons with dementia to promote hand hygiene and influenza vaccine uptake, of feasibility study under the supervision of Winnie Sun. Okay, next we have Sajina Balasingham. Yay! Sajina's project was honesty and dishonesty in sibling relationships under the supervision of Lindsay Malloy. And our final star recipient is Tony George. Yay! Tony's project was first steps on the synthesis of myodithiolene 2 complexes with hydrophobic tails for electrocatalytic reduction of carbon dioxide under the supervision of 2 supervisors, Kevin Coulter and Dr. Liliana Trevani. All right, so next up we have our NSERC USRA recipients, the Natural Sciences and Engineering Research Council of Canada Undergraduate Student Research Awards. First, we have Aliyah Olatinwo. Aliyah's project is on cardiovascular responses to prolonged and interrupted sitting under the supervision of Shilpa Dogra. Next up, we have Amandeep Singh. Amandeep Singh. The project was Markov chains, graph theory, and dynamic processes in a network under the supervision of Jane Breen. Brianne McAlpin. Brianne's project was red blood cell physiology in athletes under the supervision of Syed Qadri. Christopher Yoon. Christopher's project was on thermal analysis of a winter passenger car tire model under the supervision of Zineb El Said. Derek Whalen. Derek's project was on SMR supply chain sustainability under the supervision of Jennifer McKellar. Dylan Munazwar. Dylan's project was development and testing of Stirling engines for sustainable energy under the supervision of Brendan McDonald. All right, next we have Elagosa Abenbuan. Elagosa's project was cis loop receptors in canine heartworm, supervision of Sean Forrester. Emily Rose Yeager. Emily's project is on developing new optically active biomaterials under the co-supervision of Teresa Stotesbury and Jean-Paul Desaulnier. Eric Kin. Eric's project is on the development of a simulation tool for nuclear data analysis under the supervision of Glenn Harville. George Elijah Mensah. George's project was a sustainability assessment of the Taylor Swift Eras Tour under the supervision of Dan Hornweg. Habiba Sharif Shafi. Habiba's project was on the effect of neck vibration on upper limb sensory motor integration under the supervision of Bernadette Murphy. Haley Janes. Haley's research was into improving upon current ergonomic methods for manual material handling task analysis under the supervision of Nicholas Ladelfa. Ivan Makar. Ivan's project was the effect of neck vibration on the vestibulo-ocular reflex under the supervision of Paul Yielder. Joelle Lee. Joelle's project was on the interactive generative AI in robotics under Huoxing Lang. Joey Falcone. Joey's research was into low carbon materials for 3D printing under the supervision of Ramona Fayazar. John Bunny. John Bunny's project was design and development of a volumetric additive manufacturing system under the supervision of Gauss Rizvi. Jordan Mihalashi. Jordan's project was into hand exoskeleton design and intelligent control under the supervision of Aaron Yurkovich. Junbin Cheng. Junbin's project was into bot trader automation under the supervision of Shahram Shahbaz Panahi. Shahram Shahbaz Pahani. Liam Edney. Secure use of password managers and passkeys. What you were talking about. There we go. Supervision of Julie Thorpe. Miriam Ali. Unraveling the molecular role of a multifaceted regulatory protein in the bacterial cellulose synthesis pathway under the supervision of Janice Strapp. Miles Forent. Multi-phase flow processes in adverse weather under the supervision of Martin Agelin Schaub. Muzamil Raymond. Project Coordinated Control of UGV UAV Systems under the supervision of Scott Knockleby. Osato Haman Aziegbe. Hand exoskeleton design and intelligent control under the supervision of Aaron Yurkovich. Riley Workman, development and testing of a cable-driven parallel robot experimental testbed under the supervision of Mitchell Rushton. Syed Mikhail Wasti. Machine translation error annotation system with reinforcement learning from human feedback, co-supervised by Annie Unxian Lee and Christopher Collins. Tania Mandiangu. Tania's project was red blood cell physiology in athletes under the supervision of Syed Qadri. Tyler Reeds. Exploring 4D video and avatar realism for games under the supervision of Andrew Hogue. Wajia Zahir. Design and development of automated intrusion detection systems for 6G and zero-touch networks, ZTNs, under the supervision of Khalil El-Khatib. Yara Mahmood. ML-based test case prioritization and continuous integration environments under the supervision of Akram Al-Azim. Zachary O'Brien. Immersive technologies for medical education under the supervision of Bill Kaperlos. All right, so just one more round of applause for your NSERC USRAs. Okay, next up we have our CIHR and SSHRC USRA recipients, so the Canadian Institutes of Health Research and the Social Science and Humanities Research Council Undergraduate Student Research Awards. So first up we have Amanda Thomas, CIHR USRA. So Amanda was co-supervised by Syed Qadri and Holly Jones-Taggart. Next, we have Mayowa Awe. Mayowa received a Shirk USRA and pursued a research project in honesty and dishonesty in sibling relationships under the supervision of Lindsay Malloy. Next, we have Michelle Bartley. Michelle received a Shirk USRA under the supervision of Amelia King. And our last name of the day, Utibe Abasi Melody Ikong. CIHR USRA, project title, The Process of Building Research from Protocol to Data Analysis, Impact on Respiratory Research Across the Lifespan, under the supervision of Mika Nonoyama. Congratulations. Another round of applause for Otibe Abasi. Thank you, thank you. So on behalf of the Office of the Vice President Research and Innovation and the Office of Research Services at Ontario Tech, our heartfelt thanks and congratulations to each of our outstanding 2024 STAR, NSERC, CIHR, and SHIRK USRA recipients. Just one more round of applause, please. I'd now like to introduce our closing speaker. Patil Mixiartinian is a proud alumna of Ontario Tech who has gone on to pursue 2 masters in the health field. Patil also currently works at Colorectal Cancer Canada, where she works on fascinating research projects while advocating for the health needs of vulnerable groups. In her spare time, she enjoys biking, painting, and attending theatrical shows. Patil is also your newly elected chair of the Ontario Tech Alumni Association Council. A round of applause for our closing speaker.
Working. Good morning, everyone. It's so great to welcome all you here today to celebrate your research endeavors. My name is Patil Mixiartinian, and I am here to give you some closing remarks as well as a little inspiration to continue your research in your future roles. As Kate mentioned, since graduating from Ontario Tech with my Bachelor of Health Sciences in Public Health, I pursued my Master of Public Health as well as my graduate diploma in Applied Health Sciences. I am currently completing my 2nd Master's in Health Evaluation. My key passion in pursuing health research is to serve as an advocate for vulnerable groups to ensure equitable access to health services as well as to promote the early detection of diseases, specifically cancer. Currently, I work at Colorectal Cancer Canada. In this role, I have the opportunity to collaborate with researchers across the world, as well as conduct studies related to the experiences of colorectal cancer patients and healthcare professionals in order to identify gaps and improve cancer care services. Additionally, I work on pan-cancer studies related to access to molecular profiling and innovative cancer treatments such as targeted therapies, which can provide patients access to personalized treatments. Health research is vital in that regard. There are so many different types of employment opportunities and areas that you can explore in the field while pursuing your research, which can truly make a difference not only within the health system, but the lives of the patients and their families. As researcher and inventor Charles F. Kettering once said, research means that you don't know but are willing to find out. On behalf of your fellow alumni and the university, your passion and drive for research has made Ontario Tech the leading university that it is today. and we hope to see you join in future research initiatives in the years to come. I'd like to thank Akansha Parekh and Kate Gambier for organizing this great event and bringing together so many amazing minds across all of the faculties at Ontario Tech. These types of events are crucial to promote our research and celebrate the successes of our students. Thank you all.
There you go. So thank you so much, Patil. Another round of applause for our closing speaker today. All right, so now to announce our student video submission winner who gained the most votes. All right, the student researcher has pursued a very interesting topic and they submitted an outstanding video. Very vague, I know. They are a second time URA award recipient, and they've made intriguing content about their research in the past as well. So their research topic was red blood cell physiology in athletes. So congratulations to Tania Mandiangu.
Picture this, a world where red blood cells have a storage life of more than 42 days. Sounds amazing, right? Unfortunately, we aren't there yet, but with research like this, we are slowly approaching that future. Hi, I'm Tania Mandiangu. Let's talk about hangry red blood cells. For the past 3 months, we have been working on assessing redox balance in energy-deprived human red blood cells. As we know, red blood cells depend on the preservation of redox balance for proper function and survival, particularly when being stored for transfusion medicine purposes. Cell viability can be decreased and oxidative stress can result from energy depletion, such as that seen during storage. Improving transfusion results and blood preservation techniques require an understanding of these processes. Now, what is redox balance and why energy depletion? Well, first and foremost, redox balance refers to the condition of keeping a healthy balance between reactive chemicals that might cause injury and antioxidants that can provide protection. For the general health and function of red blood cells, this balance guarantees that they can transfer oxygen efficiently and resist oxidative damage. Proper redox balance prevents oxidative damage during storage, which is crucial for preserving the quality and safety of blood used in transfusions. As for energy depletion, it simply means putting the red blood cells in a glucose-free solution. Glucose is vital to red blood cells because red blood cells lack mitochondria and depend on glycolysis for ATP or energy production. And since it relies on glycolysis for energy, understanding energy depletion contributes in creating ways for preserving ATP levels and ensuring that red blood cells stay viable and functioning throughout storage. Our methods consisted of collecting humans' red blood cells and depletion of energy to replicate storage conditions. The cells were then stained with BODIPI and DCFTA to determine the lipid peroxidation and reactive oxygen species levels. Lipid peroxidation refers to the damage of red blood cell membranes caused by harmful molecules. This damage can lead to weakened cell membranes, reducing the effectiveness of transfused blood and increasing the risk of complications for the recipients. After the staining process, fluoroscopic analysis was performed to monitor excitation and emission wavelengths in red blood cells, allowing us to identify and quantify oxidative stress. The combination of BODIPI and DCFTA staining with fluoroscopic analysis yields a reliable approach for determining redox balance in human red blood cells. The discovered oxidative stress indicators under energy deprivation settings highlights the need of preserving redox equilibrium during red blood cell storage. Although the study is still ongoing, these findings are crucial for creating new storage methods and protocols that reduce oxidative damage, hence improving the quality and safety of stored blood for transfusions. Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna do our raffle. We're good for a raffle. Yay. Okay, so we're gonna pull up a randomized draw. It has all of our student award recipients' names in it. So if you're not here today, you can always connect with us after. Just so you know, this is a pack full of donations from our campus partners, including the alumni office and also Brilliant Catalyst as well up there. Woo. Okay, so click and spin that wheel. Sure. Oh, no, Vijaya. Vijaya here? Vijaya's not here. Okay. Woohoo! I almost called the wrong name. Okay, so Vijaya, connect with us after if you're not here. I don't believe you're here. And we'll get that to you. So congratulations again. And finally, fabulous work to all of our students on your submissions and of course your research. We're so proud of what you've accomplished these last few months and encourage you to stay tuned this fall for the release of the 2025 program details. A final housekeeping note, we're going to be having our celebratory lunch just back here in UB Mezzanine. So you can feel free to eat up there. You can also head downstairs or outside if you prefer. Just make sure you return your plates and your mess where they need to go. And don't forget to bring your lunch ticket to your meal as well. So thank you all so much for attending today's celebration and a fond farewell to those attending virtually. Thank you again to our volunteers today. We had Elise Beverly, Julia Armstrong, we had Abu Baker Bekaran, we had Nebula Camrell, Paul Gabriel Katigbak, and I'd also like to thank my co-event coordinator, Akansha Pareg, for all of her support with this event. Final round of applause for those outstanding folks. And a thank you again to our esteemed guest speaker, Samantha Stalkey. And our closing speaker, Patil Mixiartinian. All of your project supervisors and other honored guests today. Woo-hoo. It's been a pleasure to connect with you all today and celebrate undergraduate research. Thank you all so much.